Hello, this is Dr. H. Benjamin Frederick David, and I am an assistant professor of Department of Computer Science, Care College of Arts and Science. And in this session, we will see what programming in C is. These are the contents for the session. The first we'll go through a little bit about introduction. We'll then cover the basic outline, structure of C programs, and then we'll see what the hash define directive is and how the main function works. And after that we'll see header files, character sets, c tokens, keywords and identifiers that are available here. There are variables, how a variable can be used in C, and the data types, how the data types can be used to classify between the variables, and how the functions work in C programming. And after in the end session, we'll have a few exercise programs. First of all, introduction. The root of all modern programming language is ALGOL, which is introduced in early 1960s, and it worked mainly based on the block structure in programming language. So in 1967, BPCL, that is a basic combined programming language for writing software, was developed. And in the 1970, Ken Thompson developed B, which is another language that is incorporating many features of BPCL. So it is mainly used to write the early versions of Unix operating systems. And C was evolved from Algol, BPCL, and the B as well. So it was developed by Dennis Ritchie at Bell Laboratories in 1972. So C is a structured, high-level, machine-independent language, and C is mostly widely used in all across the computers, compilers, and everywhere, even today. So if you look on the right side, there you'll see how the evolution of C language has begun from Algol, BCPL, B, and traditional C, and after that Kennigan and Ritchie version of C, and another one after they both developed the C version. The ANSI committee also developed another version of C. Uh, all these variations of C didn't have any interlink, so the developers or the programmers had difficulties. So ISOs, the standard committee, developed their own version, ISO ANSI ISO C in 1990, and after that the standardization committee developed a new version of C known as C99. So in this session we'll see what C99 is. So this is the basic outline of the C program. So if you look in the first section, it is a documentation section. Mainly it is given between the multi-line comments, that is a backslash and star, and it is followed by the comments, and then it ends with star and another one backslash. So if you look on the speech bubble, it says author Ben and use for demonstrating C program. So it clearly defines what the main purpose of this program is, and how and who wrote this program. So in this link section, it is mainly used for linking or linking many external programs or external libraries in your C program. So it can be used using hash include statements. So you can include any header files. The header files are another part of C language. They can be included in your program, and the header files contain many objects, or simply they can even contain functions, and these functions can be used in your programs if you include their header files, respective header files. So hash include stdio.h is a standard input output header file that is mainly used for taking input through the console systems. So in the next section, the definition section, it is mainly used for defining the constants in the programming language. So hash define is a keyword that is used for defining constant, and pi is a pi is a constant. It is actually a constant variable. So pi, the value of pi is 3.1416. So this value, the if you want to use any if you are required to use any pi in any of your programs, so you can use capital pi. The capital pi is mainly used for notation as the defined session. So if you are defining the it as a constant, so the hash define specifies it as a constant, so it can be used wherever you are needed. So the global declaration section, in this section, the all the variables containing of various different data types can be declared in here. So the global declaration section consists of various variables that can be used across your programs. So the single C file can consist of various global declaration elements, and these can be called in your main programs and as well as your all your subprograms as well. Main program is another section which we'll discuss in the below section. So main function is a program that is a block. uh, every programming language has a entry point for execution of the program. So in C language also there is a main function, just like in any other programming language. Here also the main function executes first. If you run a program, the main function is the only function which immediately calls whenever you run a program. So the main function is called here. So this can contain the declaration part and the executable part as well. So this can be given in the as can be seen as in the speech bubble. So the void main is a void is actually the return type. It actually represents null or nothing, and main is the function name. So printf main program, the printf statement is actually used for printing the whatever you give inside the double quotations, and the call of function is a function itself. So the function name is called it a call of function. So the function name is call a function, so we are calling the function using call a function, and the open and close parenthesis will be followed by a semicolon. So in the next section, the subprogram section, the call function can be defined. So there should be a void before the call function. So void call function, and if you see here, the it is followed by single line. It actually it should be single lines comments. So single line comments can be given as like this, and the single line command specifies sub procedure and printf something is here. So if we call this call a function, something is here will be printed. This is the structure of C program. So a C program basically consists of the following parts: a single main function as seen before, preprocessor commands, the functions, variables, statements and expressions, and as well as commands. If you look on the right side, hash include stdio.h. The main function is included given here. So int main and printf hello world. Hello world is actually printed on the screen. If you notice this main function, it actually has a return type of integer. So by default, the main function is our function definition is to return integer. We can even specify void if needed. So if you specify the return type as integer, so this function needs to return something. The always remember that a function can be called and it can do some set of operations, and it can return something to the location where it can be called. So int main is a function. This function is called, and after that printf the hello world is displayed, and after that return 0. So this function returns 0. So this is the next slide, defining the hash define directive. These define the symbolic constants as represented earlier. Pi is a constant value, and this can be specified after the include statements. Hash include stdio.h, and after that hash in define pi 3.1416 is given in the program itself. Void main, if you can see that float radius area, the radius and area are variables. The those two are simply variables, and these two variables are of type data type float data type. So the float specifies the data type representing decimal numbers, and a radius and area are two different variables. The one variable name is radius and another variable name is area. printf enter the radius. So if you give anything in the printf, so it means it will display, it will be displayed on the screen. So after that, the scanf percentage f and comma ampersand radius. So it means that scanf is a function that is used for getting keyboard inputs from the user, and it can be used to store the get the value from the keyboard and store it in any memory location. So the memory location, so the memory location can be also be known as memory address. So the memory address can be called or can be used in a program using the ampersand operator. So if you give, look into the function scanf percentage f specifies that we are scanning the value as a floating point number. So it may be having decimal numbers with a decimal point, and comma after that ampersand radius. So ampersand radius specifies that the radius is a variable, and ampersand radius specifies that the address of the radius variable. So if you have a computer with 2 GB RAM main memory, so ampersand radius specifies a address location where the radius variable is physically located on your main memory. So that can be represented using the ampersand operator. So ampersand radius represents the address of radius variable on your main memory. So after that, area equal to pi into radius. So it means actually pi r square. So, so area of a circle is calculated here. So if you note that the pi is capital, actually I have given it is as a bold so that you can understand. Pi is a constant that is defined earlier, and it is given here, and area equal to pi, the 3.1416 into whatever the user gives as radius. So if for example if the user gives 3.5 as radius, the area will be 3.1416 into 3.5 into 3.5. So the product of all these values will be stored in the area variable. So printf area equal to percentage f. So here look that area equal to printf, in printf it is given that in double quotation area equal to percentage f. Wherever you want to print any value from the variable, or you want to print any value in the first in specific format such as floating point or double or even integer, so the values should be displayed using several operations operators such as percentage f. These are control strings. So printf area equal to percentage f specifies that area equal to there should be a value printing the floating point on the in place of percentage f. So what that value is represented as after the comma. So area equal to percentage f comma area. So the area that is calculated in the previous step is printed here. So the output of this program will be area equal to percentage f. If you execute this program, it you can easily see what the result might be. So after that, you can see main function. So every program needs to have a main function. A function can be defined as follows, and main is a function name. So you can give every program as a main function. So main function is the entry point. So it can be called initially or first when you execute the program. So main is a function name, and open and close parentheses are the it represents functions. So arguments can be given in between these open and close parentheses. After that, the start of the program, the angular, the set brackets are given here. So the start of the program, after that several program statements may be included here, and at the end of the program you need to enclose it with the closing set bracket. So in this manner, all the functions can be returned. So main function is also following the same syntax just as given here. So next one is the header file. So files that are included in the preprocessor directives, that is the hash include sections, are header files. These are precompiled header file or precompiled files that has functions defined in them. They may even have functions defined in them, or they may have several data types or classes defined in them. In this example, we'll see just a simple function that is stored in the header file. So I'll be explaining it. So we can call these functions after including the header files. Simple. We can include any header file, and after that we can call a function that is defined or described in the header file in our program. So header files are saved with an extension .h. Remember that C programs are always saved with an extension .c. You can easily create any C programming C programming language using Notepad and save it as a with a file with an extension .c. And in a similar fashion, you can save header files as .h. Hash include statements. So if you look at the right side, hash include statements. The hash include stdio.h is the standard input output header that is always included in any of your programs. So it is mainly used for getting standard input output operations using consoles. So for normal printf and scanf, it is not actually necessary, but some authors specify that it is needed. So it is best to include it in your program. So hash include college.h is another header file that specifies mainly the information about the college, and hash include people.h is another header file that specifies the information about people. So these two header files are included here, and after that integer main prints the college info for 11th student. 11th is actually the serial number and not the +1 student. So prints college info for 11th student is actually given in single line comment. So as you can see, a single line comment can be used for knowing what this function is actually doing. So this is the main use of functions, the main use of comments in our programs. So if you look below, print college info is a function that is declared inside the college.h header file, and people.h is a header file which consists of the function get student with the integer parameter as the input. So get student is actually a function which gets the input as integer. In here, get student is a function which is getting 11 as the input. So it actually gets the student information of serial number 11 or roll number 11. So you get the student information, and after that you print the college information of the student. For example, if you take the 11th student from a list of students across the state, and you take out the 11th student, and through his information or through his profile, we can get the college information also. We can get which college he is, and what are the various facilities in his colleges, and what are the college fees, and how the college management is. And similarly, the college information can be printed using the student that is taken. So in this is a simple function example of describing the header files. So in a similar fashion, whatever we discuss in the earlier session, all this will be covered in the later on sessions as well. So until then, thank you for joining and take care.